So hi everyone, today I'm going to be testing my new ultrasonic cleaner. I'm just waiting for it to heat up a little bit. The instructions say that it'll heat up without the cleaner being on, but it seems like it only is heating up when the cleaner is on, so maybe a minor software issue there. But I just real quick tested one of my donor boards. It was actually the first donor board that I bought. And that thing was, I left it in there for probably a minute or two. That's it, on each side, and that thing was spotless. And that had flux all over it, and it had that cheap Chinese petroleum flux that you can't get off with anything else. And I just tested it real quick, and that board is spotless. I'll show you guys in a second. But as I'm waiting for this to heat up, I'm going to be kind of organizing my shop a little bit. And then we'll throw in a water damage board and see how it looks. In the meantime, I want to show you guys this donor. Let me pull it back out here. And I'll show you guys what it looks like. But this cleaner lies in between the really cheap Chinese ones that have no name on it and the more expensive Crest copies. There's some like Crest copies out there for, $300-400. This lies in between the really cheap Chinese ones and the mid-range Crest Branson copies, but still below the Crest and those. But it's so far. So this is a donor board right here, and we're gonna look and see how this looks. The CPU, GPU area was just nasty, covered in flux, and look at this. It's spotless. I mean, for the amount of time I put it in there, and I'm using Branson too, there's no flux on it. We could do another one, and it's starting to heat up, so I don't know how long this is going to go, but if you guys want, we could throw in another nasty board and see how it we find a nasty board. And the water's already kind of murky, so this is a perfect, really nasty board. So you guys see all this flux everywhere from this. We're gonna throw it in there and see. You see it's pretty nasty. And we'll see how it does. Computer has broken LED. Well, my LED on my desktop is still unplugged from the last time that I took it apart and never bothered to plug it back in. Just like half the other stuff in it. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this board in, and I'll be around. Alphon 300 plus. To be honest, like 2 years back, I built a computer made to run games. Still not, but I don't play games anymore. I'm too busy. So the next thing I get is going to be another ThinkPad to replace the desktop. I spilled coffee on the desktop, and it's been fine, believe it or not. To replace my desktop, I'm probably going to get a ThinkPad, probably a P50 or a W540 with a docking port. And just to see how it does. So let's look at the areas on this board, and so you see right here, there's quite a bit of nasty flux, some unknown substance right there. And we have plenty of nasty flux where the CPU and GPU was. So let's just put it in here just for, maybe a minute on each side and see how it does. So a computer with docking port. I actually have a ThinkPad T430S right here. It has i5 something. I don't know. But I want to get something with dedicated graphics. So let's go ahead and give everyone a little bit of hearing damage here. And we'll be back in a second. So it's going on the CPU side first, and get ready for some hearing damage. So if you guys can hear me, in the meantime, I'm just going to be picking my shop up as it's filthy, and we'll be back in a couple minutes. Here you have the same chair, the $100 Office Depot chair. I have a mess here. I really do. I need to clean it. This is here in case I set anything on fire, like the board, because it's dead short to ground. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and flip this board, and we'll see. Now I have to get something to flip the board. That's going to be a challenge. Yeah, no, I'm not a pyromaniac. Except you never know when a customer's bored or something, you know, never been water damaged, and it's just there for safety precaution. You never know. You never know if I'm going to leave my soldering iron on, or who knows. You just never know. So I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go get some object to flip the board. Yeah, I smelled something burning yesterday. I didn't know what it was, but nothing caught on fire, so I guess that means... See, this water's already murky, which isn't good, but... And that's only after 2 runs, so we're going to flip this. Wow, we got some really nastiness on that Flux, so I'm going to give it a few more minutes on this side. It's still nasty. I don't know what it was. It could have been nothing. It could have been just my ears, but I smelled something. I was actually surprised by the instruction manual in this. It was actually readable English. It wasn't just, you know, nonsense like on some of the Chinese manuals. It's actually readable. This cleaner, also worth noting, has sweep, and you could actually hear it adjusting its frequency. So for the price I bought this cleaner for, that's a good feature. Because a lot of the other Chinese ones, they don't have sweep. All they have is just static frequency, and you do not want static frequency because no, it was not Chinglish. And my dog must not like this noise. But she's still in here, must not hear it. Forgot what I was going to say. Hi Martin, how you doing? What did it cost? It cost $115. That's what I was surprised with. So we're gonna see how long it lasts and what happens to it. But that's what I was surprised with. Sweep, and I opened the bottom to make sure it wasn't gonna catch on fire when I plugged it in, and it was pretty simple. Just had a board, another controller board for the interface, and then a heater, and then the two transducers. That's it. So pretty simple. So in the meantime, I'm going to prep this other board for Ultrasonic, because this board right here is this water damage one we worked on the other day, and this is due to go back to the customer today. So we're going to need to prep this board. So just take the DC in out. And this guy dodged a bullet with this because there was liquid under the CPU on this board, and what happened is water killed PP Bus G3 Hot before it could corrode under the CPU, so he really got lucky with this. So let's go ahead and flip this board now, and we'll take it out. Again, I lost my, here they are. The noise, though, is deafening. I'll probably have hearing damage after a few days. There's still a little flux, but this flux is really nasty. It's not like corrosion, or it's not like anything we're going to use. So we'll give it a few minutes on this side, and then I think we'll be ready to throw this board in. And we're going to take note of some of the corrosion and problem areas on this that I reworked. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So on this board, I like to show you guys the problem areas on this. Is if you could see, liquid got on that CPU and liquid got under that CPU, which is harder to see. But this guy dodged a bullet. And then right here is on this board. Here's my areas. That's my flux. It's mainly cleaned up. There's still a little nastiness around there. A little nastiness left by the BIOS chip. And then we have a little more flux here. I cleaned most of the corrosion up already. We have some juice, some remainders right there. And then we have the heatsink and the RAM I'm going to do as well, just really briefly. So let me pull the fan off on this board. So I'm done cleaning this. I'm going to pull this board out and show you guys. Still is going to have some flux left where the CPU is taken off, but hopefully it'll be better. Keep in mind this is not at the recommended temperature to run Branson, so it could take a while. So I'm going to be here for a while. I want to get it, especially on this customer's board, I want to get it up to temperature. You know, I don't really care too much about my stuff, but... And if you guys are wondering what that other noise is, that is my dog barking at the mailman. So let me just pull the fan off this board. And we're also going to throw the couple of other things in here. No, I'll wear gloves. I actually wore gloves when I opened the Branson. Branson, diluted Branson isn't, I don't know, I don't think it's that bad. I don't think Branson is, diluted is that bad. I mean, it says right here on the container, causes severe skin burns. Okay, maybe I should listen to Martin. So yeah, it causes severe skin burns. So I'm going to go ahead and put this this board in the other Ultrasonic, which is basically a brick that I found for $15. That's a $900 cleaner, but it needs the controller, and that controller is no longer available because the cleaner is built in the 70s. So we're gonna pull this board, and it still has a lot of flux on it, especially in those areas. So we're gonna go ahead and throw this board in this one. This is alcohol and distilled water. We're just gonna let it rinse, and then we're gonna look. The water's really murky already, and I've only done one or two, so you always want to rinse the Branson and the water off to displace it with a little alcohol, and then I'm going to go over it with my hot air to dry it. No, I'm not wearing no apron or anything like that to handle something like that. I really like the tray and the other cleaner, and I may actually try and put it in there, because this other cleaner, it's just better, and especially with my nonsense tongs that I'm using. But I still haven't managed to take the board out. You need blades that don't dull when what? Yeah, that's the worst thing when the customer doesn't provide you the charger with anything. Especially if it's an oddball, even with MacBooks, on my website, I say provide your charger. And because I don't know what charger they're using. If they're using some nonsense Chinese charger and they're having, dead ISLs, dead U6900s, and then they plug it in and it's still not working, well, you don't know what they're testing it with. If they're testing it with a Chinese charger and it's just going to blow the ISL and U6900s. I'm way lost in this conversation. No, I was talking about PB Henry's comment about the customers. Yeah, this didn't do much right here on this board, but we'll look at my other areas. It's cleaner, definitely, but this Chinese flux, petroleum-based flux, is still on there, and that's some nasty stuff. I mean, petroleum-based fluxes are the worst. I mean, you can't, they're just nasty. I'll show you guys what it looks like after the ultrasonic. But this, petroleum, the delay is confusing. It's not that much of a delay. So yeah, it didn't do too much on this board. It removed like 99% of my Amtech, but I didn't leave it in there for that long either, so. Oh, bones and saw blades? Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. Let me scroll up in chat. What are you guys talking about? Talking about something that's going to cut through bones? It doesn't make any sense. So let's have a look. It's still nasty right here. It's just nastier. It turned the flux into something. It's definitely breaking down the flux. But Branson EC likes to be at. It's like it removed all my Amtech flux, but it got none of the Chinese stuff. So we'll throw this other board in with my Amtech flux and see how it does. But the first one turned out really nice, but I also left the first one in there for a while. So we'll see. I want to let it get up to at least another 10 degrees Celsius, so yeah, he doesn't make any sense. Flux chemical formula, on the these Chinese donor boards, it's like Vaseline, like thickened Vaseline. That the only way I've been able to yeah, it does look like someone vomited on the board. The only way I was able to take that Chinese Flux off is by getting freeze spray and freezing it, and then getting something hard and picking it off the board. You could try alcohol, you could try a toothbrush, you could try sandpaper, and it's not going to take it off. It is just nasty stuff. Yeah, that Flux is it's that's what you get when you buy Amtech 559 on acetone. Probably won't even do it. It's like it can't break down. I'll show you guys what that Flux is. It's when you go on eBay and buy really cheap Amtech knockoff Flux. Yeah, diesel fuel and a match, that would work. But there's been more and more real Amtech Flux dealers on eBay. I don't know if they're just buying it from Lewis or marking it up or what they're doing, but I'd rather get it from Lewis anyway, just to support his business. So here's an example of what this Flux is on the board. Hang on, let me collapse. Figure out how to use OBS properly. Here's an example of the Chinese Flux that these people are using. It's $2, and notice how it says Amtech RMA. Amtech does not make anything in China. Amtech is based in the USA, and it's made in the USA. So do not buy it from China or anywhere that states to be Amtech. If you buy this Flux, this is what you'll get. You'll get stuff that just gets caked onto the board and cannot come off. It's horrible stuff. And look at it, it's $2. You know, just spend the extra money and get real Flux, not this nonsense. So I'm still waiting for the cleaner to get hot. It's at 40. It can take a while to preheat. Quick Flux, exactly. So I'm gonna exactly, the spelling is everything. I'm gonna go ahead and continue cleaning my mess and waiting for the cleaner to heat up. Then we'll throw this other board in and get that one cleaned off, and I'll get it back to the customer today because it's supposed to be done today. So I'm going to continue cleaning my mess here and waiting for the cleaner to get warm. Kind of disappointed that it says that it will heat up by itself without the cleaner, but being the cleaner being on, the cleaner is on, it'll heat up really quick, but if you just leave it alone, it'll heat up slower. I don't know if that's just because the water is circulating or not circulating. So we'll see. I'm going to stir it and see, because it's definitely warm in here. It's definitely but I mean the water is already murky just from 2 boards, so that means it's obviously working. Got a DC in board to put under the scope. Yeah. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. Throw a $10 water heater in it. I could. It's at 40 now. So we have about 10 more degrees to go, so that won't be too long. No, the heating element's on, but what I think it is when the transducers are on, it's circulating the water really well. When the heater's not on, it's just sitting there stagnant. But it is getting hotter. It was at 37 or 38 when we were cleaning. Now it's at 40. So it is getting hotter, it's just slow. So this cleaner has sweep, and it is 20 watts higher wattage than the Crest. So we'll see. So here's the DCM board. There's not much to them. Now on the newer Airs there is, but this is it to them. I mean, there's not much at all. There's not much that can fail. The Air ones, more that could fail on them. The newer MacBook Airs have the one-wire circuit embedded onto them. So, but this is all to a DC import. It just looks like right here is a little ferrite choke or maybe a coil. That's it. You know, there's not much to them. The only failure point that I've really seen in them is in the wires getting frayed and that causing issues, but Please Bro solution is scrubbing bubbles 100% clean. Huh? Yeah, like the transducing has to create some heat. But you know, we don't have any leaks right here. We have no fire. That's good. And this is just a medium from the, like I said, the no-name brands. This cleaner is in between the no-name brands and like the copy crust ones, like Sharper Tech or Durai or one of those. I don't know the exact names. So what was I saying? I forgot, as usual. Gonna continue letting this get hot. And continue straightening up my mess, as I do have a pretty big mess. I don't even know why this is even on my desk. There's two transducers in this. I have this on my desk. This is a cam phaser from a Ford engine, so this probably shouldn't be on my desk. This is a speaker for a MacBook. But it's understandable that I can't take off that Chinese Flux because it's just nasty stuff. It took off all my sticky Amtech that was literally everywhere on the board. It's made by Wayne. Are you talking about this cleaner? TCRS OEM section. Let me look. I'm curious. It's possible that it is, you know, I'm sure their OEM also makes some Crest models. So this is basically, yeah, that's what I saw. I was getting ready to buy a no-name one, then I saw this. It's like, I'll get this. So Wayne, the same company, are you saying that it's the same company that builds this OEM some of Crest's? Because that's pretty good, you know. Wouldn't surprise me. It feels like a nice cleaner. So I'm gonna look on their website right here and. You won't say exact model, but okay, so this is probably a pretty decent cleaner then, if it's built by the same company that builds Crest. I'm sure it's kind of like Amscope, how they have different grades are cheaper based on the quality. Crest uses 32 kilohertz and some. This actually has a sweep. This is like, it goes to It's 40 kilohertz, but then it sweeps down to into the 30s, then back up. And what a lot of people are saying on the cheaper cleaners that claim to have sweep, that you cannot hear it. In this, I could clearly hear the frequency changing, because you could hear the sound of you could just hear the sound of the bubbles hitting the board change. iPhone 7 Plus and the mic location. Have you seen any complaints? Yes. Someone that I know had an iPhone 7, and you could not understand one word they were saying when they were talking. It literally just sounded like mumbling. Just lousy call quality. And this is what I use for a phone. I use a BlackBerry Classic from 2015. And I have no complaints about it. The first one last year, under warranty, had some strange LCD defect, which was just a loosely seated connector. But this is a pain to take apart, and I didn't feel like it, so I just got it swapped. Yeah, the iPhone 7, the call quality is just horrible. This is holding at 40. I'm going to turn it on and get it hotter. So we're at 42 now. 43. And you could hear the frequency changing. Yeah, it's loud. In the meantime, I'm actually going to check radar, because there's potentially storms in the area, and I'm a volunteer storm spotter, so it's like right here. I'm right here, so this may make it to me soon, so we'll have to see on that. Pretty far though. Yeah, I agree. This was for 115 bucks. So we're at 44. Branson says at 140, so 50 Celsius in Fahrenheit is what? Is 122 now, so we gotta let it get a little hotter than 50. Well, I could let it get to 50 and throw it in. On this other board, I want to do no, I'm not gonna leave the stream. I'm gonna keep streaming. I got nothing much to do. Yeah, 71 max is what Branson recommends. One thing I learned is do not touch the case while it is on. It hurts. I opened the lid when it was on, and you could feel it just hurts in your fingers. So don't do that. I know you're not supposed to put your hand in the fluid, but don't touch the case either. If I put the mic near the cleaner, well, it's on the laptop, so. Oh, if the storm gets near, yeah, I do have to abandon you guys and take off to get information to the National Weather Service on it. So yeah, that's. I don't think it's gonna get here though. If it will be, it'll be later. They're at 46. I'm surprised my dog does not seem disturbed by the sound at all. So it's at 46. I'm probably gonna put the board in and clean it because I need to get it to this customer soon here. I'm gonna clean the thermal paste too. Or you know, one thing I'll do is I'll do the RAM and the other stuff, the heatsink and the RAM, because the heatsink has sticky stuff in it and it needs to be cleaned. So I'm gonna clean just the thermal grease off real quick. Oh yeah, I agree. It will destroy the bones. Oh, if you put your hand in the fluid, yeah, that's not smart at all. But I'm just gonna clean this the thermal paste off this board and stuff. Throw it in, and I'll do the RAM and the other stuff for a little bit. Because this needs to be cleaned. This has juice in it. So now I'm going to clean the thermal paste off of. So the timer is up. Just in case you guys are wondering if it No, that's a different storm. They hit Rancho at 4. This one just popped up a little bit ago. We'll be expecting rain pretty much through the end of this week. So I'm going to try and get as much of this thermal paste off as I can. I've seen that test. We could do it if you want. And after I'm going to throw this the heat sink and stuff in it, and then we'll see. Then I'll go prepare something for aluminum foil test and see if it makes holes in it. So let me. I'm going to go ahead and put the RAM. Hopefully it doesn't mess up the RAM, but it's okay. Let me find the RAM, as I put it somewhere and I probably don't remember where I put it. Good. Where did I put that RAM? I'm going to go ahead and throw this in. Solution's hot. That's good, it's heating up. It's hard to say what'll clean that flux. So I have the RAM right here. I'm going to throw the RAM, I'm going to throw the PCH heatsink in, as well as that has some, no, I don't need to throw that in. I'm just going to do the heatsink and the RAM. The RAM, it did get juice on it, it's still working. So I'm going to go ahead and put the RAM in. And what I want to do is move it like that. Hi, Paul. PayPal account got hacked. That's not good. Your ultrasonic broke, Chris? What happened to it? Chris, apparently what someone was telling me in chat is this cleaner is OEM'd by the same company that builds some of Crest's cleaners. So we're at 48. Oh, okay. I'm actually going to try to put this other basket in this and see if it fits. So I'm just lightly cleaning, it's not that nasty, and then I'm going to flip it. I need to get some other way to flip the boards. Maybe I'll use a toothbrush. Okay. Yeah, what happened to that HP, Chuck? I never really had anything catch on fire, unless it's a battery issue. So I'll be right back. Actually, give me about 2 minutes. So we're at 48. Yeah, I started melting and put out the battery connector. The battery is shorted. Something in the battery is shorted. So guys, check this out. Lewis is selling. Jason has these probes for $9.99, and let me collapse OBS so you guys can see. But Lewis has the Jason Lewis's Tech has these probes for $9.99, and Lewis is reselling them for $5 now, and I have these same leads. So Jason and Lewis are kind of in like a sort of like a war on selling stuff. So that's just funny. So that's good for now on that. I want to get the fluid temp up a little bit more. Exactly, price war. How low can they go? I will not get in a price war. I will not get into that match with, who could beat who on lowest prices. I actually raised my prices because if you have your prices too high, people will think that you're cheap and you're not, quality repair. When you're expensive, people assume it's a more premium service. You guys catch what I'm saying? So I'm just putting these in distilled water and alcohol. And we're going to look at them to see if it damaged the RAM somehow, which it didn't, but we're putting them in the distilled water and alcohol just to displace some of the Branson water. Not that Branson water is conductive. It'll just help protect me too, because Branson is nasty stuff. Heat water up in the microwave, then pour it in. See, I might do that. But I already have my Branson mixed in with it, so. And Chris, just a quick question. How often do you change your water in the ultrasonic? I mean, I did a couple boards and it's already murky. So now I'm going to pull this stuff out, and we're going to look and see how clean it is. See, I really like the tray in this other Branson cleaner that I bought for $15 that needs a $200 controller. Because of the tray, it has these legs on it, so you could rest it. You guys probably can't see this, but it has these legs on it that you can rest it on the cleaner, and this may fit in the other one. So we'll see. I change it when it looks like dirty pea water. Well, it already looks like dirty pea water in mine. So let's have a look at the RAM and the heatsink. Heatsink, of course, is going to be clean. So is the RAM. I'm just expecting to see if it damaged it, because some of these cheap cleaners, sometimes they just destroy them. But it looks good, nice and clean, and ready to go back. So I'm gonna leave these to dry. Same with the heatsink, and we're gonna let it get a little hotter. Then we're gonna throw this other board in. Put gloves on. See, could use pure IPA rather than introducing water in the cleaning rinse. Yeah, I could. IPA in the cleaner, that might explode. I don't know, with the heater. But see, then again, I put IPA on boards and heat them with my hot air and soldering iron. It doesn't catch on fire. Now, IPA will ignite with open flame, but generally not with heat. So I use 91% IPA too. It's cheaper. It does it. You know, I've never had an issue with 91 versus 99. Yeah, see, mine isn't even that. It's the other ultrasonic I have here is 10 liters, and I have like 2 quarts of alcohol in that. It doesn't. Distilled water is not conductive. You could turn on a board with sitting in distilled water and it will work. Distilled water is not conductive. It's the minerals and the impurities in the water that make it conductive. But even then, you can put a board, and this is something I've learned, you could put a board full of water. You could put a MacBook board under water, tap water, and turn it on, and it may stop working, but as soon as you dry it and clean it, it will work fine. The issue that happens is when it corrodes. When it corrodes, and that's a lot worse. Like, water is slightly conductive, but it's not like super conductive that it's going to burn pads. When water is introduced to a circuit, it will form electrolysis and corrode. When the corrosion is much, much more conductive than water, and that's when you bridge connections and cause a lot of damage. But generally what I find is just plain water being on a board will not harm it. Might not work if the CPU sees a voltage spike. Exactly. Well, the thing is water is not going to be that conductive to be able to carry a voltage spike that's going to harm it. You know, unless like salt water or something. Of course, salt water will, but just plain tap water won't do it. But you have to think, most of the stuff people spill on these boards is not water. It's juice, you know, coffee and stuff like that. So, top of that, I don't have anything else to clean except that other board. I'm just going to dry off this RAM and this stuff. Then we'll throw the board in. I really wanted to get the temperature, but I know I have nothing else to do. I could sit here until it gets hot and just talk to you guys. I demand a test to prove. Okay. I actually, a long time ago, like several years ago, a couple years ago, did a test like that. But this was before, and I was a lot stupider then, too, when I did this test. But this was probably 2 years ago. This was before I had my business. This is before I repaired boards, or even new boards could be repaired. But I poured water on a desktop motherboard, and it shut off immediately when I hit it with water, but then it started right back up, you know. So of course you're gonna have like that's oh, you want to post a link? There you go. You're Paul, you're a moderator now. Now you could post a link. But that's like on stuff that has more sensitive circuits. Keep in mind the thing that the board that I tested this on was a desktop ATX motherboard. So it's yeah, water is slightly conductive. Here, hang on. Here's a test. We could do a test here. Distilled water. Let's get the meter, and this will work on. I'm going to set it to the most sensitive ohms reading, and we're going to test and see how conductive distilled water is. You guys will have to trust me on the reading, because I don't have one of these fancy on-screen multimeters, but I might reach. So let me do a test real quick and put my probes in here. So look, this is distilled water, and this is on the most sensitive setting it has is 20M. Look, 0. I don't know if you guys can see this, but that's 0. So there's no, now we could do this on regular tap water. And let me, yeah, no super chat here. Say hi to James. He is wondering if this is live. Where's James? Who's James? But distilled water is not conductive at all. Now tap water is. I'll get a cup and show you, and this will probably be the time that it's not going to work. If you want a theme meter, I will, but Paul, what do you mean by I don't know what you mean by that. So let me go get a cup of tap water to show you if that tap water does register on the meter. At least that's what I've seen beforehand, but we'll see. You're missing a cap. What? I look too professional? I don't say that. Oh, wait a second. I was meter on the wrong setting. So, tap water is 1 point something million ohms. So 1.6 million ohms. That's tap water. Now we'll measure distilled. So keep in mind, 1.6 million ohms. Is that really going to bridge a connection that badly let's say, bridge 12 volts to the CPU. So, actually, distilled water is more conductive, which is strange. Why would distilled water... Look. Hang on a second. So so distilled water is 0.3 million ohms, so 300,000 ohms, and regular water is about the same. So yeah, I was wrong. Distilled water is slightly conductive, and so is to gain 50 pounds. Yeah, well, I'm actually at a very healthy weight right now. I would still be actually considered overweight, believe it or not, by probably 5 pounds. But I was overweight a long time ago. So, water and distilled water, which I thought this was wrong. I was wrong. I thought distilled water was not conductive at all, but it is both water and this other distilled water in the ultrasonic, which that has contaminants in it, were both conductive, but we're talking hundreds of thousands of ohms. Is hundreds of thousands of ohms bridged on a circuit really going to stop it from working? Temporarily, maybe, but is that going to be enough to bridge, let's say, 12 volts of the CPU or give a voltage spike? No. But when that water is introduced to a circuit, electrolysis occurs, and then it turns into this calcified corrosion that is going to be more like, 10 or 12 ohms resistance, and that's what's going to cause your damage right there. But if a device is in water and you get it in alcohol or something to displace it, exactly, but to see, that's what I mean. Regular water, and if it's cleaned right away, isn't going to damage the board. But if it corrodes, then that's when your damage happens. So this thing is getting warmer. I'm going to just turn it on and let it get hot again for a second. Don't forget, yeah, I'll probably bend this. See, I have Walgreens grade distilled water. So I'm going to turn this on and let it get hot again. And let me go dump this water out. So we're at 50. Now I'm going to, another good thing about this cleaner, the maximum timer is 50 minutes, when some are 30, but please never ever leave a board in there for 50 minutes. You will destroy it. To buy it for you, the meter. No, Paul, that's alright. My meter right here is okay. But thank you, though. I appreciate that. Throw some rice in the ultrasonic. Apparently fixes everything you get. Exactly. Yeah, you don't need to send. You spill water on your device, just put rice in it, and then it'll corrode. If you put it in rice, it will corrode, and then you get to pay me. So 52. Almost to 60. 60 is what like I said, I don't really care how clean my boards are because they're never going to be working again. They're just donor boards, but this is a customer's board. This is going to go back and this is going to be used. So we want to make sure we clean all this nasty, sticky stuff off of it, and hopefully it does not damage my jumper. No, Paul, that's okay. I can't do that. This meter right now is fine, and I don't really want to link it to my computer. But I am gonna buy a Fluke here fairly shortly. Probably a Fluke. But yeah, Paul, you're a really kind guy. I appreciate that. But I'm gonna buy a Fluke, probably a 117, and get that. But I don't really. We're at 52, 3 minutes left on this cycle. 2 minutes, and then I'm gonna throw this board in. I think, because it's taking a long time to get hot. And then you have to remember, it's going to get pretty warm. So let's see, it says so it says 130 to 160. So 130 is 55, I believe, 55 C and F. And yeah, 130. So I'm going to let it just get a little bit hotter here. Yeah, Flukes are nice. So I'm going to go ahead and put this board in here. And we'll see how it cleans my Flux off. The lid is hot. I'll do this side first. So we want like 2 to 3 minutes on one side of the board, and then I'll do 2.5 on one side, and then I'll do 2.5 on the other side, and then we'll be able to get this back to the customer. And please don't tell me I left the speaker on it. No. Okay. So in the meantime, I'm going to check my radar again. It looks pretty clear, pretty still far away, so. So yeah, if this cleaner is made by the same company that makes Crest, that's yeah, Chris Long's live stream are excellent. If anyone here is not subscribed to his channel, you need to. X-Tech meters are nice. X-Tech is actually made by Fleer, and I know a lot of people in the repair community do not like Fleers, but look what I have right here. This is a Fleer i3, and this is really useful. I mean, like Lewis just said, they despise these things, but let me tell you something. You put power on that board, and you point this thing at it, you could see what is shorted immediately. The Fleer one, the phone Fleer cameras, avoid those. But this is a useful tool. I could find a short like this when, you know, with alcohol or feeling around, it doesn't take much longer. I'm going to go ahead and flip it. The water is really murky. No, I'm gonna listen to Martin and get gloves. Martin, if you're still here, look what I'm getting. Yeah, Fleer X-Tech, they make good stuff. They really do. I want to get one of those meters from Fleer or Flux that has built-in thermal, but I can't justify the cost of that. You know, they're probably several grand. And so I'm going to go ahead and flip this board. I'm listening to Martin and wearing gloves because I don't want to touch this stuff. Because it seems like it may be some pretty nasty stuff. I don't really know, though. So we'll do another couple minutes on that side. And then we'll test this, put it back in the enclosure. I'll do that on stream, and then I gotta go drive this back to the customer. And see, one thing that I do for the other shops in my area is I deliver the boards to them instead of having them come. I actually bring them, as long as they're within a reasonable distance with me. You know, don't get it in your eyes, burns for hours. I've gotten isopropyl in my eyes before, and that did not feel good. This stuff I couldn't imagine. This stuff has ammonia in it, and let's see what's in it. Ingredients: water, monophenylamine, monomorpholine, and glycinic acid. Health 3, flammability 1, reactivity 1, and maximum personal protection G. I have no idea what that means. This product is designed exclusively for industrial and institutional use by trained personnel. So, how many here are trained personnel in ultrasonic? So, hang on real quick. Here's the Fleer. I'm sure you guys know what Fleer is, or you can't probably see it. Come on, focus. No, it doesn't want to focus, but this is a useful tool. Some people can't justify it, but if you can justify the cost of this, get it. You know, it just saves time. You know, I mean, I could get alcohol and I can, I could find shorts that way, or I could feel around, but you have to remember something. You're going to get a board that has been puked on or peed on or who knows what. Okay? I don't necessarily want to be feeling with my hands or my face around on that board. You know, you just never know what's on it. So we're going to go ahead and look at the board and see how it is. If we need to go longer, we will. I haven't even learned this cleaner yet, so, you know, it will, we'll see, because, you know, it's my first time using it. I don't know the settings yet, so I'm still learning it. Here's our second lid. I'll go ahead and... Looks pretty clean. This water's hot. And then we may need to go over with the soldering iron and touch up if we have any broken probe points. We'll see when we get it off. Safety glasses and really a respirator? Well, I'm so far so good, you know, I haven't passed out yet. So, what I'm going to do also, before I take my gloves off, I don't know how bad it is, I'm going to rinse the gloves in the isopropyl, just in case we don't want to get any of the nasty ammonia rancid stuff. Because I'd much rather have isopropyl in my hands than whatever's in that. And I hate getting Somali computers. They smell like incense. They burn. Yeah, people. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like Jessa and Lewis, they put their face on the boards, and you never know. You know, you have to remember. A lot of college kids have MacBooks. Okay, a lot of college kids have MacBooks, and a lot of them spill sugary alcoholic drinks on them. So you have to think, what happens if they vomit on their MacBooks? It happens. It legitimately happens. Okay, and then they tell you after they're done, and this is after you have the board and feeling for shorts on it with your face or hands than go and touch something else. You know, I just rather point the FLIR on it, see the short, and be done with it. You know what I mean? It's happened. You know, there has been vomit damaged computers, and that's not something that I want to deal with. And I just spilled alcohol everywhere over here, so I'm going to clean that. This is where you never trust me with liquids. At least it didn't get on my quick, but it got everywhere else. So, let's try this again. And again, I spilled it. This is a bad place for it. I'm getting the board out, and we're going to dry it off with the quick. Okay, so alcohol will not kill norovirus. Norovirus is a stomach flu virus. Alcohol will not kill that. The only thing that kills that is bleach. So alcohol is better than nothing, but so I'm going to go ahead and dry this board, and we'll see. So keep in mind this board had juice on it. So I'm running the hot air about 400 something Celsius. Drinks? No, it's the, yeah, exactly. So far this board is spotless. All the juice, everything, the flux, it's gone. And if you guys know what this board looked like, yeah, exactly. I disinfect my stuff. You know, I wipe it down with Lysol and even isopropyl. So there's going to be some water built up in the chips, or under the chips, I should say, not in the chips. So before we turn this on, we're going to let it dry under the fume extractor's exhaust for a little bit. Then we're going to have a look at this just once I finish drying up all the residual alcohol. And you guys will see how clean this is. And so far, after just what I've seen out under the microscope, this is a good cleaner. And I'll be putting a link in the description for it. Because it took off all of my flux, and it took off all the nasty built up strawberry drink that was spilled on this poor motherboard. Okay, so let's have a look at this. And I'll be streaming for a while too, guys, so I'm not done. I'm just going to have a look through my scope first. And I can tell you right now, all traces of liquid in this area are gone. Oh, and you guys can see the via that I was talking about the other day that I said was gone completely. You guys can see that via now and what I was talking about with the strawberry being everywhere in it. And I see a couple more issues that I said we may need to touch up with the iron. So this via that I ran a wire to, it was actually working. But I saw that, it's like, no, this is not going to be covered under my 1-year warranty. So let's have a look at this via, where this via used to be, and this was caked in with just nasty juice. Yeah, you see that via is destroyed, but my wire is good. And here's something I just thought about: does the ultrasonic cleaner take off the coating on the enamel wire? Maybe someone in chat can answer that for me. You know, that via it looks okay. We might want to test it. Looks okay there. Pads look a little nasty. We'll test them. Let's look at the CPU area. Everything looks good. There's some more liquid right here, near this USB switch. No traces left. That little bit is just the foam, I think, for the speaker. Near the RAM, had traces of liquid and a little bit of corrosion. Near the CPU FETs, everything is spotless. We'll flip it over. We had signs of liquid under the RAM slot, and that is looks good to me. It looks very clean. So yeah, so far this cleaner did a pretty good job on this board. So I'm gonna let it dry a little more. Then we're gonna go to test. Actually, I could test right now. Test the area a little bit with my meter and see if we need to do any additional work on the board. Put bucket under drain tap. Yeah, there's no visiting people that are allowed in this room. Trust me. So let me get my meter set on diode mode. We're gonna do some probing around in that area, and we're gonna test to make sure that the jumper. I don't think the ultrasonic will take off the coating on the jumper, but we'll see. So I'm gonna just do some testing here. So we have that via is good. All good there. This cleaner did a really excellent job. I'm impressed by it. Yeah, no one goes in here, especially customers or friends. And I don't even think people that are my friends, I don't think they're gonna do something that's stupid or mean to dump cleaning fluid all over my 110 volt power strip. But then again, you never know. Generally, if someone does that, you know, and they open this and spill it all over your desk, that person's not your friend. That person is not your friend if they do that at all. That person instead is going to pay for new equipment. Have you put a working board in the liquid yet, or no? I put a working board in the liquid. This is that one that we're working on the other day. I'm just doing some general checking in the area. Okay, so I gotta let this dry a little more, but so far I just checked jumper. It's all good. And then I'm gonna throw this board in I'm gonna put this board back together and then get it back to the customer today. So I'm gonna put this board, leave it to dry a little more. I'm debating putting it in the sun outside, but it's quite humid outside. If we had a normal day here where it's 100 degrees and like 2% humidity, I would put it outside to dry. But let's look at radar again. Nothing. Some cells right here, nothing major. See, I'm located I'm gonna be right like in this area right here. So so far this board is really clean. So I'm gonna put it on the fume extractor exhaust here. Almost knocked over my microscope here. And yeah, Chris, I tested that board with another charger and it worked. So it's just that this charger's weird. Oh, I don't even know. I got these things. This is broken. You see, these are broken, and they're a pain. So that's why I'm using that, because they're broken. So I'm just gonna let that dry a little more, and then I'm gonna start reassembling the board, and like I said, get that back and get paid. Got an old rework oven. Not a rework oven, but I have an oven. But I use my Quick and just dry it off. But this is definitely a big upgrade from what I'm used to. I'm used to getting the spraying alcohol with the sprayer and spraying it and using the hot air to clean the corrosion. That worked okay, but you know, I better buy a cleaner. So the RAM looks good, nice and clean. Hopefully the board still works after this. No, I ordered this. It came from Canada, actually. I ordered it from eBay, but it came from Canada. I never saw you work with hot air before. Me? No, I use an iron. But for $100 and made by the same $100 with sweep and made by the same company that OEM's Crest, that's not bad. And so I'll show you guys a little bit of this right here. This is while I'm waiting. This is my MacBook support group. This is more just the community group that you guys can join. I'll put a link here. This is really it's just another community group that I like to keep just for MacBooks. You know, it's there's an intro to micro soldering group. This is really just for I like to keep it single to MacBooks. So I'll put a link here if you guys want to join. I've tried out, paid support form for just me answering it, but that's a pain. It really is a pain, especially with the please bros and everything. That's the worst thing when these please bros are tagging me. You know, I don't like that when they're tagging me on Facebook. Please help. It's like, no, you need to use your brain and help yourself. You know, there's plenty of videos out there from Lewis, from Chris, from everyone, and they need to use your brain. If they're not going to use their brain, you know, Len, I'll get you this link. This is the 5-liter one, and just try it out. You know, you can't go wrong with the price. I've never used a Crest either. But hey, this is $100. You know what I mean? 124. So here's the link for the Ultrasonic. Smooth brains not need apply. Okay. And then the MacBook group, if anyone here wants to join, I'll put the link in the description as well. This is the MacBook support group. This is I created the group. It's run by me and a couple other people. So I'm gonna flip this board, let it dry for a little bit more on the other side. Then we're gonna put it back together and see if it works. Hopefully it'll work. And then I got to get this board to the customer because this place is closing in 2 hours. So. It's a little noisy, but other than that, it seems to work good. Alright, I think that's dry enough. Yeah, it's dry. So let's just make sure we get a green light in the charger. I'm just gonna plug the fan in. Make sure we get green light in the charger and fan spin just in case when something strange happened to it. Not even gonna plug in the heatsink. I put in the heatsink right now. Just for a quick test, you don't need a heatsink. I'm serious by that. You know, you see all these people online, you know, your CPU's at 65 Celsius, it's going to blow up. No, it's not. Intel chips tend to get you can get them very hot. And they'll be just as happy at 99 Celsius as they will be at 40 Celsius. They won't even shut off at 100. They generally shut off at 120, 110, 120, so. My charger is very strange, so don't count on it working the first time. I need to buy a new one, so. So this board looks pretty clean, so let's just do a quick test. I'll plug it in, and then we could be done. I'm still going to put it back together on stream. That's my weakness, is putting it back together, so. Plug in, and the charger is weird, like I said, so we have to plug it in a couple times to get a green light. Green light in the charger, and fan spin. We're done. So, let's go ahead and start getting this thing back together. No chime yet. Not until we get it back together. Of course, my luck, it's going to not work at all. It's just going to have dead CPU or something. But I've had a change. Yeah, I see that. Right now, I'm not gonna buy a Crest, you know. Here's our fan. Still a little wet too. So. No, I want to dry the CPU and GPU a little more. Oh, there's still water under the PCH. That's real nice. I started this with water under the PCH. Oh well, it'll be alright. So I just want to pump 100°C air under the PCH. Let it dry out. Exactly. Jessa always says, hated on the Quick. I love the Quick. The Quick is really, it's an excellent station. There's still water under the CPU too. If you guys are wondering what I'm doing, I'm just drying the chips because there's still apparently liquid under them. Best hot air station is the new, a Quick 856. Just so you guys know, I'm not really burning my my CPU. This is 100 degrees Celsius. It's not going to hurt it. I'm just going to make sure to get all the residual water under the VGA chips out. And I especially don't want it under the CPU, so now what I'm going to do is... why are you so small and why are we looking at Windows? Oh, sorry. Oh wow, I had no idea it was like that. So thank you, Chris. Here. So I was sitting here this whole time drawing the CPU, and what I'm gonna do is get the in there. Go ahead and see. There's still a ton of liquid under the CPU. And we do not want to start it with that. So I'm gonna go again, and I think I got all the liquid under it though, under both these chips. I really want to let it wait a little longer and let it dry more. But yeah, also with canned air, this is a freeze spray alternative. I mean, this is, if you turn the can upside down, okay, you don't need freeze spray. So I'm just gonna continue letting this dry under the CPU. I started it with the liquid under the CPU, but it'll be fine. Again, not conductive enough to hurt it. This is a sandy bridge too, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean the CPU and the graphics chip. And I'm pretty sure I got all the liquid out. And that's pretty much it. Then I'm gonna put it back together and enjoy that sulfur. It doesn't smell like sulfur. This stuff is the cheap stuff you get at Walmart. It does not smell like sulfur at all. If it smelled like sulfur, I wouldn't be using it. Apparently, you can get the non-bitterized ones if you call the manufacturers directly. But good luck with that. Yeah, it does not smell like sulfur. Mine does not smell like sulfur at all. Now, what I really don't understand is why people would even inhale that stuff. It's R152A, which is a refrigerant. You know, it's going to freeze your brain. Well, why? I don't know. I don't understand why a lot of people do what they do now. Yeah, it's the same. That's where I get mine, is Walmart. So I'm just cleaning the die of the CPU and the PCH. I'm going to put the heatsink back on. And hopefully this works. No, I haven't been sniffing it. Are you crazy? I said, based on the ingredients, I don't know why someone would be that stupid to inhale it, because it is R152A. That is a refrigerant used in refrigerators and air conditioners. It's toxic stuff. You know, why anyone would do that is beyond me. It's stupid, and I just don't understand it. Maybe that's why they ask you. What? No, if you guys knew me personally, you know that I'm not even. I don't fit in with anybody. Well, not fit in, but I do not like generally fitting in with people. Well, yeah. Oh, you want to fit into this group? Do this and like whatever. You guys throw your lives away. Do you have a cat? No, I have a dog. But she's not in here right now. So let me get my thermal paste, and we will put a little drop on the PCH and on the this other chip that I have no idea what it is. I remember when I was first starting, probably 4 or 5 years ago, I put this whole tube on my desktop CPU because I didn't know any better. I literally put the whole tube, which is just incredibly stupid. But yeah, that we all have our learning moments. What I don't understand is why on the 820 2936s they put a heatsink for the PCH and this other chip, but on the 3115 boards, which is a year newer, they didn't. It's like they decided we don't need cooling anymore, and that's typical of Apple. Where are my screwdrivers? Supposed to get thunderstorms today, but it doesn't look like that. I want thunderstorms. I like thunderstorms, but none yet. We all learn from our mistakes, with stuff like that. Luckily, with board repairs, I haven't had too many of those moments where I screw something up and learn from it. I've been fairly lucky when it comes to board repairs. So now our heatsink for the CPU goes on. We're going to clean this off a little more. And this still has water in it, so I got to dry it. I generally am not going to clean ultrasonic, like clean the heat sinks and stuff, but this one was bad. It had juice in it. Again, a little water isn't going to hurt the board. Like when I started it with liquid under the CPU, which probably wasn't the wisest thing to do, but it happens. I gotta hurry. I gotta get this thing back to the customer today. I'm sitting here. But yeah, so far I like this ultrasonic cleaner. Like I said, you can't go wrong with $100. You really can't. One thing I've learned when tightening these CPU screws is don't torque one all the way down at one time. You know, tighten them in increments. What I notice, it just seems to like it bends the heat pipe. Doesn't really bend it, but it appears to bend it, and I can't imagine that would be good for it over time. Okay, so we're gonna double check and make sure this thing, since it should be all dry now. Just gonna put one stick of RAM in and make sure it boots. Does anyone else have issues with the RAM slots on these? I mean, not true issues, but putting them in and getting them out. The bottom one on me, when I pop it up, it always gets stuck and jammed, and I have to like pry it out. It's probably just me, but it seems to happen. Okay, so let's put this back in the enclosure and make sure it turns on, because we would not want to. I would not want to recommend the cleaner and it's either destroy the board or something, but it'll work. So I'm just very loosely setting this in here. It's not by any means. So hopefully this works. Fingers crossed. And where's the power pads? And it's right here. Fan is spinning. And hopefully, yep, look at this. Wait for a question mark, but it's posting. When they get the white screen like this, it means it's posting. But we should get a question mark here very shortly. This keyboard is gross. It's like caked in. Oh, that's gross. Who knows what that is, too. The fan is spinning very fast, which is normal. Hopefully the keyboard works, because this keyboard is not really my problem. The local shop sent me for board repair. See, question mark. It is working. And this is now my recommended cleaner. So now we're going to get this really back together fully and get it back to the customer and be done with it. So I'm going to keep streaming. I'm sure a lot of you are probably bored by me because my streams are probably very boring. But I'm going to go ahead and call the customer real quick. Just hang on, guys, for 1 second. I'm going to mute it. So hang tight. Okay guys, we're back. Just want to let them know that it's going to be done shortly. I like to keep my customers updated. So we're going to just put this back together. And here's a suggestion for you guys that are doing this business. Tape your parts that you change to the service report. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about in a minute here. Okay, Tim, press order now. I have some to blame. Yeah, I made you do it. I made you do it. I made you purchase the Ultrasonic. Of course, this whole time I could have just been lying to you and telling you it's complete garbage and making this all up that it cleans good, but you guys saw the results. You guys saw how clean the board was after that. So definitely recommend it. It seems to do a really good job. It feels, it's good quality. It drains I mean, it heats up slow, but I think that's how all of them heat up. So, my least favorite part of this job is plugging stuff back in onto the boards. I cannot stand it, especially this microphone connector. On these, I cannot stand the microphone connectors on these MacBook Pros, but it's part of the job, Yeah, these connectors I cannot stand, literally. What are you charging the customer? This is a 2011 wholesale rate, so that's $130. Other shops get discounted rates for me. I don't charge full price for shops. But for a regular customer, this would be $180. Where's the other RAM stick? Right here. Yeah, so Ultrasonic just pay exactly. But this isn't all. This set needed more work than just that. It needed a couple of resistors for water damage repair and a couple other things. But yeah, I mean these tools. Well, this is a 2011, so that's not really cheap. On the newer ones, I charge more. I do pricing based on the years. But no, by all means, am I not cheap when it comes to this. So actually what I'm going to do is take off the LCD clip, which is a Phillips. It just makes it a whole lot easier when you do this. I need water. Make sure I don't pick up the wrong bottle and drink Branson EC or something. That would not be good. So this board had a clicking hard drive as well. Yeah, see, I get a lot of work from the older ones, and I don't mind doing them. Especially like in where the shop is. A lot of times the people are not going to have the most expensive computers, and you tend to see a lot of them are just end of life too. These computers are just end of life sometimes, and like dead ISLs and such like that. So a lot of it's fairly easy stuff. This is nasty. This whole computer is filled with sticky. So where's the board? Get our speaker back in. Yeah, my favorite tool is my amp scope. I mean, I can't believe how much I tortured myself with a digital microscope. Is Wix a new site? You may have told me. Yeah, it's Wix. But I kept the old one. The old one's still there. Yeah, plugging stuff in on boards and just general repair is my weakness. I mean, that's my least favorite part. It's the hardest part and it's the least favorite part. I don't mind soldering. I don't mind micro soldering. That's what I love doing that. But plugging stuff in and stuff like that, that's my weakness. Eventually, I'll hire someone to do it. Yeah, exactly. You're not going to get too much out of people in California for this. But it's a whole lot better than Apple. It's a whole lot cheaper than Apple. This speaker wants to fall out because the original glue is all messed up, so I'm going to get a little 3M double back tape. Been to Amscope factory in China. Yeah, exactly. All microscopes are coming there. Now, one thing, eventually I am going to upgrade from my SE402 to something better, but in the meantime it does the job. It's kind of like the same thing like you said with Crest and this place. They're probably all built in the same factory. Receptionist assembler, exactly, like Lewis. But yeah, I can't do that right now. Then I have to deal with California's employment laws and this and that, and that's even worse. And I have to. California is what did I miss? What is it like? It's a good cleaner. Apparently, it's built in the same, built by the same OEM, that the same company that builds Crest. And so it did a good job. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if everything's built in the same factory. It's kind of like Apple, Foxconn, you know. Everything comes from the same place. Just design that differs. But even like Omano, Amscope, they're all the same, you know. But yeah, eventually I would hire someone to handle the customer service stuff. Because that's probably one of the worst parts of the job. What is the DC in cable stuck on? Oh, are you kidding me? I didn't put the microphone back. Hate when that happens, when you miss something and then you have to pull it apart. It's not like the Lenovo though. Paul Daniels is here? Oh. He'll do good with razor repairs, I'm sure. Once he gets his microscope. His microscope is still in Brisbane. I tracked it a little bit ago, and it's still in Brisbane. It says departure scan Brisbane, which that means they're driving it to him, and that's what his fear was them driving it. See, Paul is a very humble and very smart guy. He, you know, that's what I get from him, and I'm the same way in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? Where I don't like to put myself above others in that fashion. Come on, go in. Where's the hole? Well, Paul, if you really want to, then sure, I guess. Thank you very much if you do want to. Yes, another thing I didn't talk to you guys about was degassing your cleaner. If you do not degas your cleaner, it will not work. So basically there's gases in the water, and okay. Thank you, Paul, I appreciate that. So, degassing your cleaner. If you do not degas your cleaner, you will not get the same results for it. Basically, the gases in the water, from what I understand, are going to stop cavitation from taking place, and you do not want that. Let's see. Yeah, you know, Lynn, here's one thing that you could help me out on. When you get this cleaner, test it, compare it to your Crest, and tell me how it does. Because I'm really curious on that. Because so far what I've seen, it does a good job. Which screws are for this computer? Here they are. Yeah, the transducers do tend to die on anything. They're a piezoelectric mechanical device. They fail. I don't know exactly how the transducers work, but I know it's done with an air gap. But I don't know the exact physics to it. But for the price of this cleaner, I mean, you can't go wrong with it. How long does your crust take to heat up, Lynn? I was originally going to get a 10 liter, but then it's the seller ended up being a scammer. So I didn't get the 10 liter, and then I found this thing, and I'm glad I found this because this is a better cleaner. The one I was going to buy was kind of a no-name one. Yeah, for $125, this, I mean, it supposedly has a 1-year warranty, but then you have to pay shipping, you know, and if the board or transducers die, I'm not going to spend $80 to ship it to somebody that's going to have it, to change it with a soldering iron. You know, I'm just going to do it myself. I'm going to buy the part and do it myself. I'm not going to, you know, there's nothing to this board. I could probably fix that board if it dies. There's, you know what I mean? It's stupid if you're a technician doing this to spend $100 sending it to someone that's going to do the same exact thing that you could do at home or wherever you work, you know? Just my opinion on the whole thing. An hour or so. Exactly, it's the same thing with mine. It takes a long time. I was kind of expecting it to heat up quicker, but I guess they take a while to heat up. Yeah, exactly. The transducers are going to be cheaper than the cost of me sending it across the country to, or wherever to get it fixed. To Canada is where it comes from. No, I'm just going to change it myself for $100, you know. I mean, this is my point. The equipment in this line of work, it pays for itself in a very short amount of time. You know, everything pays for itself in, you know, a week. The quick is $200. That's usually one board. The Hakko soldering iron, that's less than one board. This is less than one board, about the price of one board repair. Microscope, one board. You know, I mean, if you have a market in this, your equipment will pay for itself very shortly. And board repair, it's not exactly the easiest thing in the world, but it's not the hardest either. You know, don't let people say that it's so difficult when it's really not that difficult. So I'm trying to figure out here. Oh, that's for the fan. I'm thinking I have extra screws here, and I don't, because I can't figure out where they go. But in reality, I don't have any extra screws. So that's a good thing. That speaker, this one is one fan. Sorry if I'm working slow, guys. I'm just reading chat, talking, and not really paying attention much to what I'm doing here. And I dropped a screw. Now I have to find that screw that I dropped. I can't stand when that happens, when you drop screws and have to look for them. You know, if I have it in my hand. Hopefully it'll be fairly simple to find here. If not, well, here it is. So when I'm streaming, I tend to work a lot slower than I actually do. But I think everyone's like that. You know, you can't, when you're talking and okay, so I'm gonna just finishing up here, just putting the speaker back. Then I get to go bring this back to the customer. Really disappointed in the weather today. I wanted a big storm, and there's nothing, you know. But I guess tomorrow, still another chance. So I'm gonna check real quick. Storms. Oh, we got some. Might actually get some rain when I go over to the store, but nothing major. I want hail and lightning and thunder, not just showers. So I need Phillips now. Wayne, I have a question. Because you seem to know a little bit about the ultrasonics. What's the difference between, let's say, Crest ultrasonics? I mean, Crest transducers, and the ones that would be used in let's say like the cheaper ones. Are they pretty much the same exact transducers, or are the Crests better or more reliable, or what's the difference? Nothing exactly. So we'll see. I like this cleaner. It seems to do. It was built fine inside too. So I was trying to find who made this place, because came from this one company, Wholesale Innovations. Have I tried JBC? No, that's rich people equipment. I have a quick Hakko. I don't have any JBC gear. And I've actually haven't heard the best of stuff about JBC recently. From, let's say, Lewis's hot air dyeing, and then someone else's on Facebook that I was hearing about, that it was having issues. Oh. Yeah, exactly. The killers is different, but probably the same stuff from China. So I'm just plugging in the keyboard connectors and such. Again, this is my weakness. This is my least favorite connector on any MacBook right here, is this keyboard connector. It's the least favorite part of it. And this guy's cable right here is a little bent. Try and bend this back. And we're back together. Next is the battery. We're done. Use tape to put in. I just use my tweezers. It's not like something I'm not going to be able to do. It's just a pain. It's less than. So let's do a final test. Make sure this thing runs off battery, in which we have fan spin. I hit that. chime. Oh, I guess it would help with the if I plug in the speaker. Forgot one cable. Yeah, 40 kilohertz seems to be what a lot of them are. The Crest is 42, or the CP500D is 42. But this cleaner sweeps, so it sweep is was there a JTAG? No, there's no JTAG on this board, or else it would have been taken off. I actually did something very regretfully the other day, as I left a JTAG connector on the motherboard on a MacBook Air, and that was sad. I should have taken that off. And it chimes and it turns on. Cool. We're done. Turn board off. And now this goes back to the customer. Let me check my service document. So here's something I've been doing. You know, it just seems like a nice feature. Is taping the components that I changed to the service document. I don't know how anyone else does the service documents, but I always have a service report with any repair. And what I do is I have the one I sign it for warranty to be valid, and then I tape. You guys can't see, that's too small. But I tape the components I change. You can see the little speck right around here that I replace in it, and it just I just like doing that. So guys, it's 3 o'clock here. I gotta get this board over to the customer. Thank you all for watching, and I hope that this video helps you guys, and I'll be doing another follow-up review in a shorter format, like a 5-10 minute format of the cleaner, just because I know people aren't going to watch 2 hours of this. So thank you all for watching, and I hope this helps you.